All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and citations to the elect. This is the brother lawyer from Great Millstone, Miami. And what I want to go to or go into in this lesson, the topic is a topic about fear, okay? And how to deal with fear, okay? Of course, this is this lesson can basically cover any type of anxiety or fear we may experience in our walk. Okay, because we still in the flesh, we deal with these types of emotions. All right, but even more so, in the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, scriptures tell you in Jeremiah the 30th chapter. All right, it says, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Okay, ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. And it goes into Jacob's trouble and how, there's no time like any other time, and how he shall be saved out of it. We know that he is talking about the elect, okay, that remnant that's going to be delivered. Okay, so we're coming into, with all that being said, of course, we're coming into the worst times of all. All right, we're getting ready to experience, just a mass death, on a global scale, famine, wars and tribulations, and we still gonna be here on earth when these things happen. Now, of course, we know that the Lord's going to deliver us out of these situations, but that doesn't mean that it's just going to be a smooth ride all the way through. We're going to come into points and times, periods, on this walk, okay, through Jacob's trouble, which we believe is very, very near. All right, where we're going to have times and moments of fear and anxiety, right? Okay, because we've never experienced this type of tribulation before. Okay, and then we understand the flesh is weak. Okay, all right, I don't care how many, sit-ups and, push-ups and how much you lift at the gym. It doesn't matter. How good you are with your hands or with a weapon doesn't matter, man. What's coming is going to be beyond anything the world has ever experienced, man. And again, we're going to be here. So we're going to be faced with these different things. Okay. All right. And of course, we believe that the Lord is going to deliver us out of these situations. But nonetheless, we're going to still face times of fear. All right. Persecution is coming. All right. We know Esau is coming down with great wrath. OK. All right. So these emotions will be stirred up. OK, but what do we do with that when we will eventually have to face these types of trials and tribulations, these sufferings on a higher level? What do we do? OK, do we succumb to the fear? What do we do with that emotion? Well, like the great men of old, OK, like King David, OK, like Yahweh Shai, like Apostle Paul, like King Hezekiah. OK, what they did was go and pray to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. OK, they confessed that to the Lord and prayed to the Lord for deliverance, man. OK, and that's the level of vulnerability and honesty and faith that we have to have towards Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. The scriptures say, casting all your cares upon him, for he cares for you. OK, so we can't, walk around like these emotions don't affect us or will not affect us. OK. Now we have to understand and be honest with ourselves and just with the reality of the situation, that there will be points of fear and anxiety. OK, but nonetheless, we can trust that if we bring them to the Lord, OK, and pray for his mercy and deliverance and strength, that we'll eventually be able to make it through. OK. All right. So I just wanted to bring that out in a lesson. It's been on my spirit. And Lord willing, it's edifying. I know that was a long ass intro, but it was a lot on my mind. Okay. But yeah, Psalm chapter 18, verse 1, right? Let's go to King David, right? It says, to the chief musician, a psalm of David, the servant of the Lord, who spake unto the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. And he said, I will love thee, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation and my high tower. I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from mine enemies. OK. All right. So King David is here praising and acknowledging that the Lord is his protection. Okay, the Lord is his strength. The Lord is his deliverer and high tower. Mind you, this is King David. He's a mighty man. Okay, he is a well-trained warrior. Okay, he's good with that, with the sword, with the hand-to-hand, combat. He's been in wars, man, and he's saying, "Hey, look, the Lord is the one who delivers me. He's my strength. He's my shield. He's all of these things for me, right? Okay, he's the one that delivered me from mine enemies, right?" Verse 4, it says, "The sorrows of death compassed me about, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the snares of death, the sorrows of hell compassed me about, and the snares of death prevented me. In my distress, I called upon the Lord and cried unto my God, and he heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him even into his ears." Okay, so we see here that in this particular psalm, all right, that David is talking about a situation where he was surrounded by his enemies. Okay, and he was for certain that, he was getting ready to die. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a life or death situation. Okay. All right. And that fear of death, made him afraid. Okay. He was afraid. Okay. He saw, his enemies about him, getting ready to take him out. Okay. And we know in the times that we're coming into that Esau shall come in like a flood. Okay. And in this particular scenario, King David said he was afraid. Okay. This is the mighty King David. Okay. All right. This is in a time when men were stronger. Okay. Testosterone levels were on a whole different level back then than they are now. Okay. People actually really saw, public stonings and deaths and executions on the regular. Okay. Actually went out to war with shield and armor. And here it is, this man, King David, who was one of the mightiest men to ever walk the face of the earth. Okay, is saying, I'm afraid. And he's coming to the Lord with this, man. He prayed to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for deliverance, for that mercy, for that protection, for that strength. Okay, so how much more us? Okay, going into the times that we're going into, we have to understand that, yeah, it's going to be times of fear and doubt, but we always have to bring it to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, man. Okay, that's our protection. Okay, that's our strength. That's our deliverer. All right, no matter what it is, cry unto the Lord, call upon his name. Okay, pray for that deliverance, that mercy, pray for the strength, that salvation. Okay, and wait for the Lord to come through. Okay, all right, this is Psalm, chapter 56. Verse 3. Okay, well, matter of fact, I'll start at verse 1. Another Psalm. Okay, Psalm 56 and 1. All right, it says, "Be merciful unto me, O God, for man would swallow me up. He fighting daily oppresseth me." Okay, we know we coming into a time of famine of the word, persecution, a great insurrection of those upon those that fear the Lord. Okay, a time of famine, of wars, and all of these things. Okay. All right. And of course, now don't get it wrong. When we see these things happen, okay, there's going to be a level of excitement and anticipation because we've been talking about it forever. Okay. All right. But nonetheless, of course, we understand the flesh is going to react how it's going to react. OK, so we're going to feel, times of distress, times of fear. OK. All right. Esau coming after us, these different types of things, right? It says, "Mine enemies would daily swallow me up, for they be many that fight against me, O thou most high." Okay. And so again, King David is going to the Lord, okay, with these distresses, with these complaints. All right. It says, "What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. In God, I will praise his word. In God have I put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me." Okay, so when that fear comes, all right, when that distress comes, when we're in these times of tribulation and affliction, we ought to go to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai and trust and believe the Lord wants that. Okay, all right, the Lord wants us to go to him with our anxieties, with our worries, with our fears, with all, whatever it is that we may be feeling. Okay, because again, the scriptures say, "Casting all your cares upon him, for he careth for you." Our scriptures say, be careful for nothing, but in everything with prayer and supplication, make your request be known unto the Most High. Okay, so we ought to go to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Okay, that's part of having faith. Okay, having faith isn't always, being happy and joyful and zealous. Sometimes faith is something that you have to use as a weapon to combat, sorrow, to combat fear, okay, to combat distress and anxiety. Okay. And we see the men of the Lord did these things in time past. Okay. One of the examples I like to reference, is King Hezekiah. When Jerusalem was being besieged by the Assyrians, King Sennacherib. Okay. He besieged Jerusalem. Jerusalem was the last city that was on his checklist as far as the southern kingdom is concerned to conquer, because he had basically conquered, the different cities and strongholds of the kingdom of Judah at the time, and Jerusalem was the last city. Okay, so he had it surrounded by his army, besieged the city. He had his ambassadors go and speak blasphemous words against Jerusalem and against Hezekiah and against the Lord and his temple. Okay, and King Hezekiah heard these words. Okay, his back was against the wall. All right, you could imagine city after city being conquered by the Assyrians, and he's getting these reports, just extrapolating, right? And when he heard the words of King Sennacherib's ambassador, all right, he was troubled. Okay. Matter of fact, let's go to Isaiah. Okay. All right. Isaiah chapter 37, verse 1, it says, "And it came to pass when King Hezekiah heard it." What is it that he heard? The words of Sennacherib's ambassadors. Okay. Where he spake against the Lord, spake against the Lord's temple, spake against Jerusalem, spake against its people, spake against Hezekiah about how they were going to, if they didn't surrender, they were going to be besieged and end up starving to death and all these things. And, the city was going to eventually be captured. Don't put your faith in the Lord, this, that, the third. And Hezekiah was troubled. That's why it says what? When King Hezekiah heard it, he rent his clothes. Okay. And he covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of the Lord. Okay. All right. Now, renting clothes is an ancient custom, that people would do when they were in times of distress or mourning or fear. They would rent their clothes and cover themselves with sackcloth or ashes to represent that mournful state that they were in. Okay. Or to express it. All right. So King Hezekiah immediately, he went into the house of the Lord. Okay. All right. What do you think he was getting ready to do? It says, "And he sent Eliakim, who was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the priests covered with sackcloth unto Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos. And they said unto him, Thus saith Hezekiah, this day is a day of trouble and of rebuke and of blasphemy. Okay. For the children are come to the birth, and there is not strength to bring forth." Okay. So basically, they were in a time of distress. Okay. And they had no way, okay, that they could think of to, be delivered from that situation. Okay. Straits, distress, trouble that's what that word means in the Hebrew. Okay. And it says, "It may be the Lord thy God will hear the words of Rabshakeh, whom the king of Assyria his master hath sent to reproach the living God, and will reprove the words which the Lord thy God hath heard. Wherefore lift up thy prayer for the remnant that is left." So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah, and Isaiah said unto them, "Thus shall ye say unto your master, Thus saith the Lord, Be not afraid of the words that thou hast heard, wherewith the servants of the king of Assyria have blasphemed me. Okay. Behold, I will send a blast upon him, and he shall hear a rumor and return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land." Okay. All right. So King Hezekiah went immediately unto the Lord, man. Okay. And that's how we have to be in times of trouble, in times of tribulation, in times of fear, in times of distress. Okay. All right. And then when you read further down, you see Hezekiah was praying. Okay. And that's basically the point. I don't want to read through the whole chapter. You can read it yourself, but that's the point, man. Situations are going to come where we feel anxiety and fear and distress and trouble, and these times that we're in right now in the cool of the day, even though it's getting hotter, when things are, relatively routine. Okay. All right. But also in the times of trouble, man, in the times of Jacob's trouble and times of persecution. Okay, in the time of Esau coming down, having great wrath upon those that fear the Lord. Okay, it's going to be times where we experience fear and anxiety. What do? Pray unto the Lord. Okay, the same way King David did, the same way King Hezekiah did. Okay, all right, let's go to John 12. Okay, because even Yahushua experienced these types of emotions. Okay, and we would be remiss to think that we won't. Okay, because we've read in the scriptures King Hezekiah, King David. Okay, we about to read about how Yahushua felt these emotions. So we would be remiss and foolish to think that we are not going to experience these emotions and feel this way or these ways as well. Okay, all right, this is John 12:27. It says, "Now is my soul troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this cause came I unto this hour." Okay, so Yahushua is troubled. Okay, he's going before the Father. Why is he troubled? Because he knows that his time has come. Okay, for his trial and eventually him being afflicted and lied upon and all these things, and eventually crucified. Okay, all right, which was a very humiliating, and painful and torturous death. Okay, it was a very shameful, and despiteful way, to be treated. Okay, all because of the testimony that he had of the Father. Okay, all right, and so he knew this was coming, and he said, "What his soul was troubled." Okay, the word "trouble" there in the Greek. All right, the word "trouble." All right. And the Greek is Strong's G5015, and it's tarasso. It says to agitate, trouble a thing by movements of its parts to and fro. Okay. To cause one inward commotion, take away his calmness of mind, disturb his equanimity. Okay. All right. So basically your peace of mind has been disturbed. Okay. Nervousness, anxiety. Okay. To disquiet, to make restless, to stir up, to cause trouble, to strike one's spirit with fear or dread. Okay, to render anxious and distressed. Okay, to perplex the mind of one by suggesting scruples or doubts. Okay, so Yahushua experienced these emotions. What did he do? He called to the Father, man. Okay, he prayed to the Father for strength, for mercy, for deliverance. Okay. All right. For fortitude. Okay. We're going to be faced with these emotions, man. Trust, man. Okay. We're not in these times that we're coming into. Okay. We're not going to be in every situation just, feeling impervious, man. Nah, we are sheep, man. We need the Lord, our shepherd, to deliver us, man. We're going to be put in situations where we're going to have to cry unto the Lord and really call out, humble ourselves to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. Okay. And that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. Because if that's the way we gotta go to get the hell up out of here, if that's the sacrifice that the Lord is pleased with, then let's lay it on the altar. Okay. All right. If that's what it's going to take, then so be it, man. Okay. And we as you read Yahushua's story, as he was getting ready to face, his temptation and his trial. Okay. He was constantly going praying, man, telling the disciples, stay back. I'm going to go pray, and praying to the Father, crying and sweating blood. Okay. This is Yahushua, man. So Yahushua felt these emotions, man. Okay. All right. And what did he do? He went to the Father. He called upon the Lord. Okay. We might be faced with situations where we're brought before kings and rulers, persecuted, lied upon, afflicted or beheaded or whatever might have you, separated from our family, separated from brothers, put on the news, people coming after us, and it's going to feel uncomfortable. Okay. It's going to hurt. All right. Okay. But that's okay, man, because we got Yahweh Shem Yahushai that we can call upon, man. Okay. We can call upon his name for deliverance, for strength, for mercy. Okay. and all these things, man, and just let the chips fall where they may. Let the will of the Lord be done from that point forward, man. You know? So I just, that's just something that was on my spirit, man. We have to understand, it's okay, man. The Lord wants us to be honest, man. He wants us to go before him. Okay. He wants us to trust in him. All right. In these different situations, man. Okay. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 3. It says, blessed be God, even the Father of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, the Father of mercies and the God of all comfort, who comforteth us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of the Most High. All right. So the Lord comforts us in our tribulation, man. OK. All right. And how does he do that? He does that through this Holy Spirit, through the scriptures. OK. Through other brothers. OK. Through us praying to him, and then he gives us the strength to endure, or he might just straight up deliver us. OK. All right. It says, for as the sufferings of Hamashiach abound in us, so our consolation also aboundeth by Hamashiach Yahushai. And whether we be afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation, which is effectual in the enduring of the same sufferings which we also suffer. Or whether we be comforted, is for your consolation and salvation. So whether we be afflicted or comforted, it both works out for our good. OK, it's all working towards our salvation, because the Lord is building us up and also using our trials and afflictions to comfort one another. OK. All right. Verse 7, it says, and our hope of you is steadfast, knowing that as ye are partakers of the sufferings, so shall ye be also of the consolation. So all these examples that I've read about in the scriptures, OK, that's for our consolation. The scriptures say whatsoever things were written for our learning, aforetime were written for our learning, so that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So we read in the scriptures where it was times where Yahushua was troubled in the spirit, because of his afflictions, King David, King Hezekiah. OK. All right. That wasn't what did they do? They prayed to Yahushua. They wasn't faking it. Nah, Lord, I'm troubled. I'm afraid, hey, man, go to the prophet and tell him to pray to the Lord so he could deliver us, because we in some shit right now, yo. All right. It's just keeping it real, man. It's OK, man. As scriptures say, we have not an high priest who cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted as we are, yet without sins, man. So we can come boldly before the throne of grace, man. The Most High is not some tyrannical judge to his sons. OK, he sees our frailty. He says, fear not, thou worm Jacob. He knows we're a worm. He know we got emotions, and he knows we're frail and feeble. He knows that shit. OK, we got anxieties and fears and all these different things, man. So he wants us to come to his throne before him with these things, man. OK, so that we can find strength and grace to help in time of need. OK. All right. Verse 8, it says, for we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble, which came to us in Asia, that we were pressed without measure, above strength, in so much that we despaired even of life. OK, so they were pressed. They were stressed and in straits, above strength. They couldn't do anything about it. They were at their wits' end. At the last straw, they despaired even of life, when you go to the word despair, it means to literally to be at the brink of losing hope. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Let me get that real quick. All right. Strong's G 1820. All right. And it's exaporia. It's to be utterly at a loss, to be utterly destitute of measures or resources, to renounce all hope, to be in despair. OK. All right. So they were utterly at a loss. OK. They did all they could do, utterly destitute, basically like, oh, this is it type shit, All right. It's over with. Right. It says, but we had the sentence of death in ourselves, that we should not trust in ourselves, but in God, which raises the dead, who delivered us from so great a death, and doth deliver, in whom we trust that he will yet deliver us. Okay, so this is just again just another scripture, man. Okay, the apostles of old went through it. Yahushua went through it. King David, King Hezekiah. We read different scriptures, man. You know, where men of the Lord were faced with different troubles and tribulations. Okay, and they felt fear. They felt, you know, trouble. They felt distress and anxiety in their spirit. And what did they do? They went to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. They went before the Lord. Okay, and the Lord gave them whatever strength to endure, whatever mercies, whatever deliverances, okay, necessary to keep moving forward, man. Okay, so that we can read about these things and have an understanding. Okay, so I just wanted to put that vibration out there, man. You know, it's going to be, you know, some rough times ahead. All right, as the Lord did come, you know, did say, yeah, all right, we already know this is coming. Okay. All right, we're going to be in times of tribulation. We're going to be in times of straits, you know, where we might feel nervous or anxious or afraid. Hey, pray to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, pray to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Call upon His name. Okay, ask Him for strength, ask Him for mercy, for deliverance. However you got to do it. Okay, and the Lord will come through in whatever fashion He sees fit in due time. You know, so. Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakwadash, double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and citations to the elect. Shalom.